Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to be learning PLL. What is PLL? PLL is the permutation of the last layer. It is the final and last step of the method CFOP, which stands for cross, F2L, OLL, and PLL. This is my follow-up video to 2-look OLL, and in today's video, we're going to be learning 2-look PLL. Now, full PLL is composed of 21 algorithms, which is a lot, and they're pretty long too. But 2-look PLL compresses it all the way down to just 2 algorithms, which I think is really awesome and something that you should learn too. Let's get started. So there are 3 cases which you're probably going to be starting, and it's going to be one of these 3 cases. Let's go over each of the cases, and if you're not in one of these cases, that means that you've already moved on to the next step. Let's get started. So in this case, we can see that 2 of these corners are completely orientated in the right place, except this edge is not. So this is one case, and we're going to be using only one algorithm for this. Now here is another case where this face is entirely solved along with the edge. And then the third and the final case is this one, where none of the edges are orientated, and no matter wherever you turn it, you just can't find 2 edges consecutively orientated. So let's get started. Don't worry, though there are 3 different cases, they're all going to require one algorithm, but you're going to have to repeat the algorithm several times based on the cases. Alright, so let's take a look at this case. We have 2 consecutive corners orientated here, and next up, what we're going to be doing is just going to make sure that all of the corners are orientated correctly. We're not really worried about the edges right now because that's in the next step. Let's get started. Here's the algorithm. R prime, F, R prime, and then back to, I recommend doing this with your ring finger, back to, R, F prime, R prime, back to again, now R2. And from here, we can just immediately see that all of the corners are orientated. We're not really worried about the edges right now, but here's the case that you have just arrived in. Alright, so if your case was this, it's pretty much going to be the same thing, but make sure that in both of those cases, the solved corners, the 2 consecutive solved corners, are always facing in the back. So they always have to be facing in the back in the other case too. And it's the exact same algorithm. So let's get started. So this is R, F, R prime again, then back to R, F prime, R prime again, back to R2. There we go. And now moving on to the third and the final case where you think that you're going to have to apply a different algorithm, but no, actually you just have to apply the exact same algorithm again. Except, in this time, you're going to have to repeat it 2 times. So let's get started. So R prime, F, R prime, back to R, F prime, R prime, back to again, then R2. Now, in this case, you have noticed that now finally the 2 consecutive corners are solved. Great, now we can just move on to the next case. So first we make sure that these 2 corners are facing the back, and we repeat the same algorithm. So now there is a variation to this algorithm, but it's going to be all the same moves, but you can perform it faster if you're facing the yellow face. So it's R, down, like that, R, U2, R, down, U2, R2. And there we go. Alright, so now let's move on to the second step of PLL. In this step, there's going to be another new algorithm, but this one is much easier than compared to the last one. And there are going to be some variations in this, but it's going to be exactly like the last one. Sometimes you have to repeat the algorithm 2 times, and sometimes just 1 time. Let's get started by analyzing the different cases. Alright, so here are the 3 different cases. In the first case, we noticed that only 3 edges need to be orientated correctly, and the back layer is completely solved. Great, that's the first case. In the second case, however, all 4 edges are not orientated, but in this case, you notice that these 2 edges need to be swapped opposite, and that's the same case with these 2 edges as well. Now in this case, you will notice a similarity to the last case, that none of the edges are orientated, but instead of going opposite, they're going to be going diagonal. So this edge is going to come over here, and this one's going to go back over here, and same with this side. Let's get started by the easiest one. So it's a very simple algorithm, and you don't really have to exactly memorize it. It's just a couple of things that you need to identify. So here's what you're going to be doing. First, you always have to make sure that the solved face is facing the back. And then here's what you do. The first thing that you do is an F2 turn. And then you look on your left and your right to analyze which color goes with what now. So for example, if I turned it to the red over here, the red doesn't match with the centerpiece. However, if I turned it to the blue over here, the blue matches with the centerpiece. That's what we have to do. So going over that again, first is an F2 turn. Then we match it up with the correct centerpiece and edge piece. So that's the blue one. Then we turn both the left and the right layers down, like that. Then we do another F2 turn. Then we turn the left and the right layer up again. And then we do a U-turn like that, and simple. From there, we can just self-analyze that we need to do another F2 turn, and the cube is solved. These 2 cases are exactly the same, except you're going to need to repeat the algorithm twice. Let's get started. So first for this one, so F2, and then since the green matches up with the green centerpiece, we just rotate it over here. Then the left and the right layers down. Then we're going to do a front 2 turn, bring the right layer up as well as the left layer up. Then we're going to do a U prime turn, since we use the opposite edge. This side's edge, and then an F2 turn to make it to this situation. And from here, we repeat the algorithm again. F2, and since the blue's over here, and left down, right down, front twice, right up, left up, top once, and F2. There we go. And now in the last case, you may notice something strange. You don't have to hold it in any particular way, but when you do an F2 turn, you'll notice that none of the edges match up with the centerpiece. So in this situation, what you simply do is do your F2 turn, and now we can just match it up with any random piece that we want, and just finish the rest of the algorithm. So RF to there we go. Now in this case, we do the algorithm one more time. Here we go. And there we go. So as we can see, 2-step PLL is an incredibly simple process, and it can greatly increase your time. So learning it is an awesome thing. Now, there is a quick note that I would like to make, and trust me, if you do this, this will help you out a lot. So now, looking into these 2 cases, we notice that this is the case that I originally showed you, where none of the edges are orientated. And I did say that there was 2 algorithms in PLL, but there's actually another 2 algorithms, which can also greatly increase your times. Let me just show you these 2 algorithms, and these 2 algorithms are very easy, and they can greatly increase your times because you don't have to repeat that algorithm that I just taught you twice. Let's get started with this one since it's simpler. So here's the algorithm. Now, regularly you might do the original algorithm where you do the front twice turn and try to orientate all the edges by doing it twice. But in this time, you can actually do something way simpler, and it can solve the rest of the cube. Here's what you do. Now, at first, these turns might seem a bit difficult, but in the end, they'll get really easy. So you're going to use your middle finger and your middle finger. So you're going to be using your ring finger and your middle finger to turn the middle layer like this. And that's all we need to learn. So here's the algorithm. M2, which means middle layer twice. U, that way. M2 twice again. Now this time we're doing a U2 rotation, so twice U2. Now we're doing it M2 again. A U, and then from here, just M2 again. And there we go, cube is solved. After practice and a lot of effort, you're probably going to be finding yourself like this. Oh yeah, so this is where the edges need to be swapped opposite. Let's just get to the algorithm. And here's the algorithm when it's being done fast. There we go. And that took almost less than a second. And instead of repeating the algorithm twice. So when comparing the two algorithms, let's go something like this. That's how long the first algorithm took. Now with the new algorithm, here's how long it's going to take. There we go. That was way faster than the first one. Alright, let's move on to the final case. So in this case, we notice that our similar thing is happening and it's going to require almost the same algorithm. Here's the algorithm. So the first thing we're going to make sure is that the green and the orange faces, which are similar to each other, are going to be on our right side. So these two are over here and then these two are over here. So you can take a look at that. All right, here's the algorithm. M2U, M2U again. M, just a single. U2, M2, U2, single M, and then U2 again. Now the algorithm may seem a bit long, but after revising this video and looking at it again and again, it's going to be pretty fast. See? So let's do that one more time. So yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video on 2Look PLL. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. And see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.